Serving Tampa Bay since 1954, the Heritage Station. WTMP, Egypt Lake, Tampa, Clearwater, 97.5 in Pinellas.
Advisors.
Buckle in. We've got a great hour.
Here we go. Alrighty. It's that time again. I know you folks have been waiting with bated breath. Breath this is.
Something like that. Look out now.
So it's 1 o'clock Saturday, and for the regulars, this is Porch Talk Radio.
Live.
With your host Eddie Adams Jr., Gabriel Phillips. We're doing what we normally do. Normally I usually do a little diatribe, to start the show off.
But
no buts. I'm gonna do a little diatribe.
All right.
Start the show.
Let's go. Get this party started.
Then we'll get the show up and running. I gotta say something. It's been a couple of weeks, and I've seen, within the community there was a conversation about Black Lives Matter, and I'm just saying, from Eddie Adams Jr., this is nobody else. I've seen them publicly, here locally. I've seen them nationally. And the one thing, that I find missing, and folks, I speak frankly, so I don't beat around the bushes, but I haven't seen a lot of black males involved with Black Lives Matter. And I'm just saying, I was at an event last week, and they were, at Candy Lowe's Tea and Conversation, and they was there in force, probably 20 or 30 of them, mostly white females.
Angry.
Black females. I think I saw one white dude, and that was the coalition. And then when you see them on TV, a lot of times, that's what it is. So I'm questioning. I'm just asking. This is not the debate for today. But why aren't there more black males involved with Black Lives Matter? I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there as a question. So,
Eddie, you're getting in trouble, baby.
I know. That's what I'm trying to tread
you're
lightly.
Not being PC, brother.
But it's got to be said. And as folks who are regular listeners know and understand, we're not politically correct. So if that's what you come for, you're at the wrong show. So,
there you go.
So that being said, there's a lot of things going on in this community, and there's some things that need to happen. So what I'm going to do at this point is go ahead and get the show started. We have a guest today who's a judge candidate. We're going to get the show started, and then we'll have her talk with us, and I'll introduce you to her in a little bit, and then we won't miss on this day in history today, because I actually got a couple of calls like, "Oh, we missed it on this day. Did I miss something, or was I gone or something?" So yeah, okay. I got the response. The callers and people who left me nasty messages, and I keep telling these people around here that folks actually like that. They don't believe me, but they don't get the call. So for those who call me, we will make sure we get on this day in history in today's show. So for those who want to call in during the show, call in number here at WTMP. If you call in, that means you want to be on the show. Don't call in and say I don't want to be on the show. Because that's not how it works. And we actually got the professional engineer on the boards today, so we're going to get this thing done right today. So anyway, if you want to call in during the show, the call-in number here, Porch Talk Radio, WTMP, 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. So if you want to call after the show, talk about something during the week, you want to call something, something on your mind. If me and Gabriel did something wrong, and you want to, tell us about it. My cell phone number, Eddie Adams Jr. cell phone number, 813-12. 813. We already got a call. Okay, let's get the show started.
Come on, Eddie, keep it moving, brother.
Then we get the calls in.
We ain't gonna get you
813-312. All right. So if you want to text me, text the number, Facebook Live. How you guys? We're getting better at this Facebook Live thing too. So it's kind of new. I kind of just started texting, like a year or two ago. Before that, I just used my phone for old-fashioned purposes.
Oh my goodness.
So the Facebook Live is new, and I heard the first couple of weeks we wasn't good at that. So we're growing into it. We only been doing this 10 years. So
that's right. We don't have flip phones anymore now.
So
just got rid of them.
For those who want to email me, Eddie@PorchTalkRadio.com. And we got 2 callers already. So I guess they know the number. They got the number. They're already calling in. So let's take care of these 2 calls, and then we'll get to our guests. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What say you? Hello. Welcome to Porch Talk.
Hey, man, since y'all always have interesting stuff, I have to comment. So I just wanted to say you posed an interesting question with regard to women in the Black Lives Matter movement. But I'd like to pose a bigger question, and that is, even in all these movements, we see a lot of black women, and we don't see as many brothers leading these marches as we should, or leading these things. You look at a lot of the economic development, things that are going on, a lot of community advocacy things going on in our communities, and it's led by women. Okay, so you had a Miss Burton's and stuff out there. So I'm saying it's not just Black Lives Matter that you might see that in. We look like we've seen a lot of that across the board. So I'd like to get your perspective on that. Thanks.
Well, thank you. That's a good question. Now, I got to say, some of the people in this community that are making stuff happen, we all know we got that black female or black women power happening here in Tampa Bay. That's not what I'm talking against in the Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. Because I know, and if they don't know, somebody needs to tell them, it's a big difference between socialism, which is what they are,
Eddie,
and Marxism. If you're black, neither one of those mean anything good for you. History tells us that.
New York City tells us that.
And for us to not be aware of the fact that think that's going to be a better system for black folks than what we currently have, I'm just saying, you need to look up and study what it's all about, because the leaders of Black Lives Matter are Marxists and they're socialists, and that's what they say. That's from their info. So again, I know enough about world history to understand that Marxists and socialism don't work anywhere where you don't have somebody working. So somebody got to work. So at the end of the day, it's usually the people who at the top of that pyramid that gets the benefits, and the people at the bottom that carries it. So okay, next caller. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? What say you? Hello?
Oh, he got so excited about the news that he just hung up.
Okay, next one. Okay, let's do the next one. All right. Okay, good.
Moving on.
They got so excited about my last answer. I guess they forgot they forgot what they were trying to do. So anyway, with us this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, is a judge candidate. Remember a couple weeks ago I told you it's important that we know who these people are on the ballot, especially those who sit on the bench, sit higher than anybody else in the courtroom. That's a power thing. That's kind of why it's done that way. So once you walk into somebody's courtroom, they pretty much become judge, jury, prosecutor, the whole nine thing. Because at the end of the day, is their word that counts. Mm-hmm. So and black folks haven't got the benefit of the doubt in not many courtrooms in Hillsborough County. I got to say that because I got to represent the people, and I know most of the black folks feel that way. Mm. They may not say it, and I have a platform here, so I'm going to say some stuff, that a lot of folks who listen to this show on a regular basis know. I say what I feel, and I say what people in the community tell me they feel. So anyway, here with us today is a judge candidate for Hillsborough County Judge Group 7. Her name is Nancy Jacobs, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and why, us folks in the black community, and maybe she may not know, she may not have heard the show. But I know she heard the show because she called us a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We say black and we say white, and we speak straightforward. We don't try to beat around the bush, and we're not politically correct. So without any further ado, today, I guess, Miss Nancy Jacobs.
Thank you for having me, Eddie. I want to make sure everybody can hear me here.
There you go.
Okay. I am running for judge because I believe experience counts. And in my case, my legal experience is 35 years here in Hillsborough County. And I work in circuit court and county court. I practice my own practice as criminal defense and family law, and that's been the case for 27 years. Before that, I was a prosecutor under Bill James, State Attorney's Office, and prosecuted all kinds of crimes. And when I left, I was prosecuting felonies. I had 3 kids under the age of 4, married, and somebody needed to make some money, so I opened up my own practice, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I represent everybody. I represent black people, white people, Chinese people, all kinds of people. It doesn't matter to me who I'm representing. I've been involved in the black community for years and years and years. I didn't just start doing this when I was running for office. It's important. And I often take cases on a pro bono basis for active military and veterans as well, black, white, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Again, life experience, and a lot of times people call county court people's court. It's very a popular term for county court, and that's because the average person outside the courthouse, if they're going to be in the courthouse other than jury duty, most likely is going to be in county court, and that's where most of the issues are. And you need to have a judge who, of course, has legal experience, but everybody who runs for judge has legal experience, and you have to be a lawyer to run for judge. But in my own life, I've had experiences. I am a daughter of working class parents. My mother is no longer alive. My dad owned a dry cleaner in Miami. That's where I grew up, and I moved up here in 1985, and that's when I started working at the state attorney's office. I'm a mom of 3 grown kids who happily are all off the payroll now, and they're making their own money, and they're doing okay, and they don't call me for money, which is great.
Way to go, Mom.
There you go. Yeah, that's tell you something, right? And I am divorced, so I've been on both sides of the courtroom, as an attorney and as a litigant in the courtroom. And I'm a small business owner. Like I said, I've been practicing law of my own, what we call a true solo practice. I even type my own pleadings, and I've been doing it that way for quite a while because that's my choice. And
we're gonna let her finish, and then we'll take the caller.
okay. With regard to my own life, I've had a happy life, and I've had my trials and tribulations. Within my own life, it didn't happen to me personally, but within my own family, I've had the issues of alcoholism, drug abuse, and mental health issues, including suicide. And you become even more compassionate and more understanding when these things happen in your life. And you learn from them, and you move on from them, but it's a lot different when you've gone through these with a family member than if you read something in a book, okay? I don't come from a silver spoon situation here at all. Everything I've done, I've built myself, and that's why I feel like I can understand the people that come to county court. Everybody's got something, and they don't necessarily want to talk about it, but everybody's got something when they come to court. They don't just come to court from nowhere. They bring their lives with them to court, and it's important for a judge to be able to understand these things that people bring to court. And obviously, you have to listen to all the facts of the case, apply the law, which is what's necessary, but judges have discretion as well, and that's where your life experience comes in and your common sense. And you need to be able to, again, understand what's happening and why people are there, and if they deserve a second chance, you need to do that. If not, you need to do what's right with what you need to do for that too, because you need to, a judge's duty is to make sure that everyone is heard, the facts are out there, everyone feels heard in the courtroom, and you reach a proper decision. But at the same time, you're a citizen of Hillsborough County, and you need to be able to protect the citizens of Hillsborough County as well.
We got a couple calls.
Okay.
I know you didn't finish.
That's all right.
We'll come back and we'll let you finish.
That's okay.
So at this point in time, we'll go ahead and take the caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? What say you? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead.
Eddie?
Yes.
Hi, Eddie. And Gabriel, it's Selena Ward. How are you?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Selena. How's it going?
It's going absolutely fabulous. I wanted to take a second from the campaign trail and call in. Hello, Nancy, as well. I know last week I was on the show and I said that I had some exciting news, but I couldn't share it, and I know you guys wanted to hear it today, so are you ready for it?
Hit it.
Hit it. Go for it.
So I am proud proud to announce that my backbone, my right-hand man, the person that's always supporting me, my husband, Curtis Ward, was promoted this week to Command Sergeant Major.
Wow.
That is a 1% of enlisted soldiers receive that promotion. So we are just cheering from the west, the east, the north, the south that he was promoted. So I just want everyone to help congratulate him on his promotion. We're out here on the campaign trail, but I always will be a wife first, and I had to stop and just give that congratulatory message out to Command Sergeant Major Curtis Ward.
Well, thank you very much, and that's important because, you know, at that rank, I'm not a military person.
He's pretty high on the food chain.
But yeah, he got a lot of bars on his arms, so
And stars.
you know,
Stars on
so to reach that rank, I know it took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, blood, sweat, and tears, all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Selena, and a great congratulations to your husband, because him and the whole family was here last week. And we appreciate it, and I think the community appreciate it, and that's a working family. So everybody in that family is out there working, trying to help Selena Ward make it to school board. So thank you, and thank you for calling, and we look forward to having you on the show again.
Yes, looking forward to it. Have a great day.
All right.
God bless. That's
All right.
awesome, Eddie. Great things can happen and
Yes.
do happen to
Yes.
black families.
All right, and we got another caller on the phone. So if Howard, if that's for us, we go ahead and take it now. If not, we're gonna go back to our conversation with Nancy. Okay, go ahead and put them on.
Hello?
Hello, this is Porch Talk Radio. This is Eddie Adams. Hello. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Eddie. I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
I just heard Selena Ward on the radio, and I've been following her campaign. I am a resident of the Los Angeles area, and I knew Selena Ward when she lived in California, and she was a teacher for the Compton Unified School District, and she was an outstanding teacher.
Well,
And I
thank you.
actually worked with her on a volunteer basis, where even on the weekends we would go out and tutor kids that were part of the Inglewood School District as members of the same sorority. And I talked to her about how much she was invested in her kids and all of the things that she did for her kids. So to see this Facebook smear campaign against her is just someone trying to dig up something to stain her campaign, because I have worked with her personally when she was here in California, and that is just not the person that Selena Ward was, and it's not the person that Selena Ward is.
Well, thank you very much. We
God bless.
appreciate that. And one of the things, you know, when we start the show off, most of the time is if you got time and energy to mess around and throw shade, you know, and the folks who from the hood, you know what I mean when I say throw shade at somebody, you know, take that same time and energy to find out what person you want to support.
Put that energy.
Put that energy
That's good.
into that person. Build them up.
Big time.
Don't spend your time and energy trying to tear somebody down, because at the end of the day, you know, I think anger and hate and all that stuff are negative energies. And we try to keep, you know, Porch Talk Radio positive. We want to provide information that's going to help this community move forward. You know, not so much in trying to, you know, color somebody, tear somebody down, destroy somebody. Take that same energy, put it into building up your candidate. If you put it in your candidate will probably win, and you want to worry about Selena Ward or anybody else, you know, because you did what you could to help your community move forward.
Redirect the energy.
And that's got to be the basis for which we do. Is too many opportunities for us to be our own worst enemy. Why don't we take it and make it a positive thing? Don't try to tear down people who are trying to help the community. And that's my place, and that's always been my place, and that's what I say. So today we're dealing with, and we have as our guest Nancy Jacobs. And so Nancy's going to continue her introduction, and then we'll take some calls for Nancy. So go ahead, Nancy, and take on where you left off.
Okay. Well, another reason I'm running is I believe that judges need to have judicial temperament. It's very important to have judicial temperament, and you need to be able to make sure that everybody that comes to your courtroom is treated fairly, and that, you know, you're there to do the right thing, basically. People come to county court particularly because, you know, and they're scared. They are maybe their first time there, they don't know what's going on. Sometimes they don't even want to talk. And a lot of times they come without lawyers. That's certainly very common in the civil side of it. Now, criminal, you get a public defender, but they come to court. They don't know what they're there for. They're scared, and that's the judge's role too, to be able to be patient, be able to bring out the facts from this person who doesn't know how to do this. They're not professionally trained, and be able to really still, apply the law, apply the facts, and be able to help get those facts out, because this person doesn't know how to do that. And oftentimes as well, even with attorneys on one side, you may have a defendant on the other side who doesn't have an attorney, and that's even worse, because that, you're really up against a rock and a hard place, because you've got somebody who's trained on one side, and then there's you on the other. And the judge can't try the case for you, but the judge is there to listen, to make sure that you're getting your day in court, and that the evidence is handled correctly. Someone's not trying to railroad you on the other side, and really understand and apply the law. So, and that's what I do every day, even in my own practice. I make sure that the rules are followed, that ethics are employed at all times, and that the right thing is done. Now, with my own community service, over the years, my parents raised me with community service. When my brother and I, we grew up in Miami, like I said, we basically did what kids could do to help in terms of canned goods, collecting canned goods, serving food over on the holidays to people who are homeless or in great straits, dire straits. And even back in the day, there used to be multiple muscular dystrophy
Telethons.
well, telethons, but
Yeah.
people were able to have carnivals, muscular dystrophy carnival. That was a long time ago. So we did that too. But as an adult, once I moved to Tampa, I made it my business to become involved in the community. Hillsborough County Schools, youth sports, doing some work for Bay Area Legal through some other volunteer legal organizations that I belong to. I'm a big advocate of animal rescue and animal rights. I have now I have 2 rescues. I had 3 rescues. When the pandemic started, one died. He was 15 years old. But I try to do, I do that. That's really important to me. Again, like I mentioned earlier, doing pro bono work for active military and veterans. I recently received an award at the end of 2019, a recognition from the Florida Supreme Court for doing that. And I've been involved in the Black community, Black Business Bus Tour, Young Entrepreneurs, Tandy's Tea and Conversation, wherever, and now recently with what's been happening out there with the pandemic, feeding TampaBay. So wherever I feel it's, the help is needed is kind of where I go. I don't have one pet project. I try to just spread the wealth around,
Right.
In that
Yep.
regard. And I just try to do what I can do, in my own, way to help the community. One of the things I do, it sounds kind of cheesy, but I happen to like to bake. That's my thing, and that's also back when I was married, and if there were things going on at home that I was unhappy with, there was a lot of bread made because you got the, all that kneading of the dough. We had a lot of bread on in the
How
house.
can people find you, by the way?
Well, I have a website, www.nancyjacobsforjudge.com. My phone number, if you want to call me directly, 813-789-7173. My email address is jacobs4judge@gmail.com. And I have Facebook, also Nancy Jacobs for County Court Judge Group 7. So that way, and there you can see all the places I've been and what I've been doing. And I've been reaching out to the community, well, like I said, for years, but in this campaign, I've been in this race since a year ago, April. And I seek out places to go. I don't just wait for invitations from different groups. I just go out, and I've been to events, with Black Americans, of course, Chinese, Republicans, Democrats, as far as not their partisan things, but they are Republican,
Right.
Democrat,
Sure.
whatever. People, doesn't matter to me. I've been out in Plant City to the Pig Fest, I believe it's called.
Boy.
That was really good.
Yeah,
that
reach
was,
on that
I
one.
love pork, so that was really nice. I've been out to there. I've been out Riverview. I'm a member of the Riverview Chamber of Commerce and
Yeah.
all of the events out there. By the way, they're having the Greater Riverview Chamber Taste of Riverview right now, and go out there and try all those restaurants. They're really good. I happen to like one in particular, but I know I can't talk about that. But,
This is my show. Talk about whatever you want. Go
well,
ahead.
this one, I happen to like Italian food, so
Okay.
Your Pie is a great restaurant, because you
Okay.
get to make,
Okay.
design whatever kind of pie you
Okay.
want, so I like that. So, but I've been from one end, East Tampa, Ybor, Cuban Sandwich Festival, that was last year, some of the other events that are in Ybor, even little, art shows and things that pop up. I just enjoy people, and I just go where there are people. A lot of dog things too, bark in the park, all of those kind of things. There was something at Halloween that was like a woof something, I don't remember exactly the name, but animal, I'm really big into that, as I mentioned. And so I just go where there are things. I don't go to necessarily organized events that they send invitations for. I just enjoy going out and meeting people, and I've always been that way, and that's how I would run my courtroom. So,
What's a glaring difference you see between you and the other people running in the same field right now? Is there
the
something?
same race?
Yeah, well,
regularly?
there's something particular that stands out to you that says, this is one thing I can hang my hat on. I know that I'm doing or going to be doing.
Well, as I talked about, fairness, empathy in the courtroom, understanding people, and I'm hoping to get the votes of the people. That's where my endorsements I want to come from, not necessarily the institutions out there in the good old boy network in Hillsborough County. I am of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's really true. It's a little cliche, but it's true. That's who I've been since the time I was a little child, and that's who I represent every day. I don't represent big corporations, and in cases where they're getting $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million verdicts, I don't do PI work at all. Like I said, criminal defense, family law. I help with evictions, domestic violence, which is very important. It's going to be even more important now because of the pandemic. People are in close spaces, and there's more and more domestic violence happening. And and part of, I do family law, and as a result of doing family law, and that's mostly in circuit court, but, divorces and things, but it's become over the last few years an actual trial strategy to file a domestic violence injunction against your soon-to-be husband or wife to maybe get a leg up in your divorce case, maybe get the child, that's an issue of who's gonna get time sharing with the children, and if you scare enough people that maybe you're gonna hurt the children, maybe a judge will make sure you don't get the time sharing you want. And if the domestic violence injunction is granted, you have to stay away from the kids, you have to stay away from the wife.
Wow.
And my experience with that would help me if I would happen to be assigned to that division, domestic violence. I have a real good idea of which cases that are filed are really done, they're frivolous, and they're done for trial strategy, and who really needs to be protected. And of course, if it's a legitimate domestic violence, you need to be protected. The wife, the children, whoever, the husband even, need to be protected. And it's not just either about husbands and wives, it's anybody that you live with in the house. If you're, it's a house, it's domestic violence, whatever your domestic situation is, even roommates, whatever it is. And that's super important, and other people in the race don't have that, and that's one thing that sets me apart as well. And just the compassion and being involved all the time in the community, not just, again, when you're running. And I have support of community leaders and regular people with regular jobs. And one person who's not a regular person, recently I got the endorsement of Representative Fentress Driscoll, who I really appreciate that endorsement. Sean Shaw is another person who's endorsed me. Michelle Williams, and she's an activist, but she's, I like Michelle. She's another one who tells it like it is, like you, Eddie. That's how it goes. She doesn't pull any punches. She does her research. Reverend Dixon out there, Pete Edwards. These are all people within the Black community. Of course, I have other endorsements from all kinds of people, and I again invite you to go to my website, www.nancyjacobsforjudge.com, to see my endorsements. And I've been putting them on Facebook, usually Tuesday and Friday as well. So you can check that out.
While you got a break.
Yeah, good. Rapid fire.
Take a break.
While you're catching your breath there.
Okay, I'm a lawyer. We know how to talk, right?
One of the things, folks in the hood, especially black males, a long time ago, Richard Pryor had a joke where he was saying, I went to the court looking for justice and found just us. So part of the whole scenario, and like I say, one of the things we do primarily here at Porch Talk Radio is use this platform to move the whole community forward.
Right.
And I know, and the community feels, and I'm part of that community because I've been in situations when I was younger, when I was in my teens, where I had to go to the courtroom and you walk in and you look around and the only people who look like you are in the benches right beside you. So it's a thing, and for the most part, not many black folks believe they get a break. You know, now you can see hear a million stories of how somebody who was white did the same thing and got half the time, a quarter of the sentence, or a quarter of everything.
Right.
You know, but for some reason or other, all the judges, and I'm not saying it in such a way, but I don't mean all the judges, for the most part, throw the book at the black guy every time, every freaking time. You go up there, if it's unless you clearly are the angel in the situation, you're gonna get the most time and you're gonna get the most harshest sentence, and that's the system, and so we feel like that. The only way we're gonna change the system is start changing the judges that get to make those decisions.
Right.
So tell me how you feel about that situation and what would you do to make it different.
Okay. Well, I tell people, and this is true, there will be no racism in my courtroom. And if I find any racism, I'm going to call it out, first of all, and racism towards anybody. But like you said, you see a lot of African American, black people, particularly in the criminal courtrooms. And I believe everybody has some kind of racial bias that's built into them.
Yeah.
And it is the duty of a judge, and really most people, but particularly a judge, because a judge can take away your money, your freedom, your kids, and everything you hold dear, basically. Your life. Well, in county court, that's not the case. But yes, in circuit court, definitely they can take away your life too.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to dig deep down inside and find what your race, take stock of what it actually is, because you've been raised a certain way, and that you can't help it. That's the way.
Right.
But you need to take stock of it, realize it, bring it to the forefront, and then you must consciously put it back down and say, I'm a judge here, and I'm not going to let that racial bias impact my decisions. But at least you first have to realize you have it, and then consciously say, this has to go over here, because I am here in court. And only things that matter in court are the facts, the law, and justice. And that's where I come from. And of course, as I mentioned, I've been a criminal defense attorney for many years, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen people who've gotten railroaded. This is basically in felony as opposed to.
Sure.
And it's been my job to make sure police follow the law, because it's a slippery slope. If police officers are not held accountable for what they do, one day it's this person who's standing in court, and next day it could be you. So it's very important to make sure that you're applying the law the same to every person, and that's what I intend to do. And of course, in county court, it's a lot easier, because the worst sentence you can give in criminal court, of course, is 1 year in the county jail. But I wouldn't want to serve 1 day in the county jail,
Right.
and I understand that. And
Right.
You need to be able to understand that sometimes people get into situations by their circumstances, and things happen, and that's when I talk about alcoholism, drug abuse, mental illness. Everybody brings that to court, and sometimes that's really why they're there. And they made a mistake because they are between a rock and a hard place, and they thought they were doing what was okay in their situation. Maybe it was against the law, but there were desperate times call for desperate measures sometimes, and that's how people get into trouble. And you know what? It's not just in criminal court. What about evictions? And people do what they have to do, and it may not be right, but you have to understand that that's how they got there. And that's not to say that you say, oh, well, they didn't mean that, and there you go, let me just let you walk out the door. People have to be accountable for what they do. But you have to be able, and you do have to give justice to everybody,
Right.
Black, white, Chinese, whatever it is that's in front of you, the same way. And again, that's kind of how you're raised too. It depends kind of how you're raised, and if you've seen some bad things and you understand that people are people, and oftentimes people deserve a second chance. It just depends on the person, where they've been in your courtroom 6 times with the same issue. They're
Right.
a serial
Offender.
But I was going to say, even if it's just petty theft. If you're always over there in Walmart and you're stealing something every week, you got a little problem there.
Right. Well, see, and this is the other thing too. There's a lot of systematic racism, which has been a word that's been kicked around a lot in the last couple of months, and no one person gonna beat that. But how do you, my philosophy is, how do you start beating systematic racism is one person at a time.
Correct.
You got to start the process
Start
somewhere.
somewhere.
It can't be everybody else's responsibility, and that's why about a month or so ago, I started saying we're gonna get on this show some of the people that, first of all, the community may not know who you are, so we got to have the community know who you are, and if possible, screen so folks know who the good folks are and who the bad folks are. Because a lot of folks, when they go to judges on the ballot, they don't know Jack Beanstalk hell from who the folks on it. They either vote for somebody they don't know because they either seen or heard the name. They vote for somebody that somebody told them to vote for. They don't know these people, and they don't take the time, energy, and effort to go look you up and see what your cards say or what's on your website and all that kind of stuff. Because usually, if they're gonna do it, they do it before election day. So what I'm trying to do is make sure this community know who some of those judges are, because a lot of judges don't show up on the radio. They don't show up at the community events.
Mm-hmm.
So your first encounter with a lot of these judges is at the ballot box, and you eeny, meeny, miny, more.
Well, hey, now, come on, now, we're more educated than that. I would look at the name Nancy and go, I used to have an Aunt Nancy, and she used to cook really good.
I bake.
Oh, this is a baker too, so
Yes,
there we go,
I bake.
folks.
So, well, yeah, that's true, and it's really important for people to be educated, particularly about judges, and to vote all the way down the ballot. We're right up there above soil conservation.
Right.
Okay, that's obviously where people think we should be, but you need to go down, because those people, this is your local government, and you're not really affected majorly by what happens up in Washington. You are,
Right.
to trickle down effect.
Right.
But every day in Hillsborough County, either your school board members, your county commission, judges, tax collector, that affects your everyday life. And it's important to understand who you're voting for. And I welcome people to go out there, study it, go on the websites, go on Facebook, go to court. And when I'm elected, I invite people to come to my courtroom and observe. I'm transparent. I'm transparent in my life, and I intend to be transparent in the courtroom. Again, go to my website, www.nancyjacobsforjudge.
Way to go.
For county court judge. Let's get it right. www.nancyjacobsforjudge.com. And my Facebook is Nancy Jacobs for County Court Judge Group 7. And my email, nancyjacobs4judge@gmail.com. Phone number 789-7173. It's an 813 number. And I actually pick up the phone. It's not somebody else or a recording. And if I don't answer right away, leave a message. There's a voicemail. I'll call you back if you leave a message. Probably won't if you don't. But if you leave a message, there's so many spam calls out there. But also, in addition to all this, people don't necessarily think about this, but it takes because our court system is so backed up by no fault of the people that actually work in the courthouse, but because the legislature doesn't fund the judiciary the way they are. People get stuck. They cannot move forward in their case. There's all kinds of problems getting a court date and then moving a case along.
Right.
Now, that's not to say you should be on a conveyor belt, out the door.
Right.
But you need to be, people that come to court, that is their life for right now, that case. And be it county court or circuit court, people sometimes don't think county court's that important. But yet, if you're going to get evicted, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
Or if you're being sued by somebody and you might have to pay the money, like now, that's important. Domestic violence injunction, you need to get somebody out of your house. That's important. Are you going to go to jail? That's important. And those cases need to be able to reach a resolution in a timely fashion so that person can move on with their life. And I can manage a docket. I've never managed one before, but I've managed 3 kids, 3 dogs, a husband, a household, a law firm.
Okay.
And I'm still here to tell the tale. So.
Well, also, part of this whole process, and again, we are here to be a source of information for the community. Again, people who listen to this radio show, Porch Talk Radio, every Saturday, and we have people who probably been listening to us for 10 years.
Great for 'em.
The reason this is important, because on August the 19th.
18th? You're gonna be late if you come out the 19th.
Yeah, on August the 18th, this race will be decided.
Well, we're probably gonna have a runoff, because
Okay.
there's 4 people in the race. I hope we won't have a runoff, but statistically, chances are
Okay,
we'll run
because-
into November.
Okay, because I heard someone say this morning, I think Supervisor Electric was saying, some of the judges' race will be decided.
Right, ones that are 2 people races. Well, I have 4 people in this race.
Okay, and then
So-
some of the school board will be decided, and everybody, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, because some of these races are not, don't have party preferences.
Correct.
So they're not a Democratic primary and they're not a Republican primary. So those races will have everybody voting on them, and most of those races will be done.
Decided, yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
on August the 18th.
Right, August 18th.
August 18th. And you gotta, if you're gonna register to vote, you gotta have it in to the Supervisor of Elections office by Monday, this Monday coming up,
Correct.
7 p.m.
Correct.
Because if it's not there, you can still register, but you'll be registering for November and not for the August, primary.
Folks, real quick, just for all you watching us live on Facebook right now, make sure and like and share that with your friends and family around the planet as the top-rated show 10 years in a row. It's just because we're good. But make sure and like that and share that, please. Thank you.
All right,
And
so,
please like my page too on Facebook.
And that page
as
is?
well.
okay.
Nancy Jacobs for County Court Judge, Group 7.
So if you want to hang around with us, we can. But at this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and get the, on this day in history.
Oh,
in.
boy, we gotta get it down. That's right.
Gonna get it in, cause
Gotta
if
get it
we
down.
get into another conversation, then we'll be
It'll
pushed
happen.
up against the clock and we'll miss it again.
Oh,
And I
no,
don't
we
wanna
can't do
get-
that.
I don't want to get chewed
Yeah,
out
that would be
by our
sacrilege.
callers, cause I have people who call. So just to make sure we get it in and don't
Oh,
miss
please.
it. Don't miss it another week in a row. For some people can care less, but some people actually like it. So on this day, July 18th, 1804, the United States First Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, was killed by Vice President Aaron Burr in a duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
See, a
Manly.
lot of people didn't know that. See,
Manly.
That's right.
on
yes.
this day, July 18th, 1932, the U.S. and Canada signed a treaty to develop the St. Lawrence Seaway. That's that waterway that goes all the way through,
Canada and
all the way up to
there, yeah.
Canada, right. On this day, and July 18th, 1947, U.S. President Truman signed a Presidential Succession Act, which placed the Speaker of the House and the Senate President pro temp next in line to succeed after the Vice President. So that happened in 1947. And on this day, July 18th, in 1977, the Medal of Freedom was awarded posthumously to Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in a White House ceremony. And last but not least, on this day, in July 18th, 2015, eBay spent off of PayPal into a separately publicly traded company, and it was completed on this day.
Wow.
Can you imagine having that stock still?
Woo, yeah, and that's not that long ago.
Our
Well,
drivers would have drivers.
I think Netflix is the stock now. Everybody's home.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
So,
Everybody's doing this stuff.
That's
I
true.
wanted to mention though, when I
Okay.
was talking about cases moving through, we're all entitled to due process of the law. And when your case gets set off, that, in my opinion, is not due process.
No.
So it's really important to make sure that case you get, again, parties get their day in court, they understand, and I hope that everybody who leaves my courtroom will feel like they were heard. They may not be happy with the decision at the end, but they were heard, and laws were applied fairly, and that, things were done above board, transparent, and in a timely fashion.
Now, I've been told, since I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, and sometimes stuff you hear is not truthful always, but there's supposed to be a time limit from which you start this process to when it's supposed to be over. It's not meant to go on forever.
It's not meant to. Now, we know in criminal cases there's a speedy trial rule.
Right.
And people have to be brought to trial within a certain number of days. However, once you waive your right through your attorney or yourself, that right to speedy trial, that case can go on and on. You've heard of cases that go on 10
Right.
years and
Right.
so that once you do that, it can happen it could be out there a while, depending upon how backed up the court is and how, what's going on. It can go on and have depositions and things not happening when they're supposed to, and it can go on and on. Civil, that's not the case. It can go on. Judges can take things under advisement for quite a while before they decide on a motion, whatnot, and you could be in court quite a while until your case is decided. And that's something that I talk to practitioners about often, is that the worst, that judges need to be prepared, in my
Right.
opinion,
Right.
for court that day, okay? And the worst thing, I think, when I walk into court, for a judge to say is, why are we here today?
Oh.
Why are we here today? Well, maybe it has to do with the motion that I filed that's 20 pages long. That's why we're here today. And judges need to be prepared. They need to do the work.
Right.
And, the people are paying them $165,000 and $56,000, depending upon where you are. And you need to do the job. You need to do the work. And you need to know what's happening that day in your courtroom. And that's very important. And again, that goes again to time management and understanding and making sure you're up on things and you know what's happening that day. Now, it's not to say that you've already made your decision on somebody's motion or
Right.
whatever ahead of time just because you've read it.
Right.
But you've read it.
Right.
And there are certain judges that are great because you walk into that courtroom and they say, okay, I've read both sides. These are the issues that I want to talk about today. Make your argument. This attorney, you over here, make your arguments and I'm going to decide. But I've read everything, I've read the law, make your arguments. And I really appreciate a judge like that because I know that they're up on things and they've read they've taken the time to read what
Right.
I've written and what's important to my client. And that's what you need. You need somebody who's working for the people, is earning their salary every day. And that's what I intend to do because that's what I've always done my whole life.
All right. Gabriel, your rant. Whatever.
Folks, I've never been the best at numbers. I've always had accountants, CPAs work with me, so I've dealt with businesses. But folks, keep the word extermination in your back of your head as I give this quick little rant. The worst systematic racism in America is the destruction of black babies. The abortion is 3 to 5 times higher than it is for white women. Blacks are only 16.9% of the population, as per WikiLeaks, but have 36% of the abortions. Now, as for Planned Parenthood 2018 numbers, they did 345,672 abortions in 2018. We know 36% of those abortions were black babies. That's 1,024, and then 44, 1. So 124, 125, just under 125,000 a year are being taken out. So back to that word extermination. In New York City, a black baby is more likely to be aborted than to be allowed to live. Liberals completely own these numbers along with that town for decades. Black-on-black shootings are in that town right now up 277% since the Black Lives Matter movement. So if you're wanting to help your own people, maybe if you stop putting the same people in power, liberal Democrats, which now you can actually have a baby in New York, it can be born, and within a few days you can still take them out. Liberal Democrat policies. So it's like an abused dog going back to its abuser. I'm not calling any race a dog, but I'm saying, if you keep doing the same stupid stuff, keep getting the same stupid results, it's not working. Every town right now in America that is still going down in flames with defund the police movements are all liberal Democrats, and they're all blaming, the Portland mayor is blaming President Trump for not doing anything for her poor leadership and telling her policemen to back down and run. But it's somebody else's fault. But somebody put her in power. Somebody voted for her. And those people are leaving that town. And if you look at Joe Biden, who's up for trying to get in there after 50 years of doing nothing, he suddenly has a revelation. He wants to do something. He's been 50 years a politician, nothing to show for it. But now he suddenly has a revelation at age 78, maybe 79, that he wants to fix it, what he's been doing for the last 50 years. If we just try to put this together and go, if we keep doing and putting the same people in power with the same bad policies, back that word extermination. How much longer? Right now, 16.9% of our population is black. How many more people do we have to keep sacrificing on the altar of political liberalism before you go, wait a minute? That's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Just numbers.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And we only got a couple more minutes, so Nancy, you're welcome to jump in.
Oh, how did they find you?
No, don't say anything.
No phone calls?
Well, we got a few earlier, but they wasn't
You've
for
been
you.
doing good.
So
Thank you.
well, that could also mean that there's no organized opposition against you in the black community.
Oh, that's great.
You know,
Maybe she's just good.
And that has
like
happened
that.
that's usually a sign, you know, when a lot of people call in, because somebody has already, you know, shined some shade, you know, against that person, and everybody know about them, but it's a negative no. You know, it's not a positive no.
Right.
It ain't because they fought for you, it's because somebody's against you,
Right.
and now they got a lot of people against them.
Okay.
But part of this whole process, this is something we were going to talk about last week. We were going to talk about the economic effect of the systematic racism that's been going on in the country. So what I said, and this is something that I got when I went to Atlanta, you know, a few weeks ago. And Atlanta is called Chocolate City. You know, they call it Chocolate City for a reason, because you probably got more black millionaires and billionaires in Atlanta than any other city in the United States of America. And what they were talking about was 15%, even though Gabriel just say 16.9% black folks in the...
That was a WikiLeaks, older number, so I don't know.
Okay. You know, so, but they were saying 15%. So it got me to thinking. So what I did was, on the Fortune 500, which are the largest companies in the United States, and I know, you know, somebody told me that Tech Data, who's the largest Fortune 500 company in this area, you know, that they got bought by somebody a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, but they're still the largest tech company in this area. So, for those who don't know, and for if you remember last year, we were harping on the money train, and that was the largest local corporations, businesses, government entities like the airport and the Port Authority, and some people who are responsible for billions of dollars going through the Tampa Bay area. So we pretty much stuck with, you know, the authorities, people that got government money coming through and getting passed out and handed out. Well, the largest private companies in the Tampa Bay area, Clearwater's Tech Data Corporation ranked 88 on the Fortune 500
That's pretty good.
list. $37 billion in revenue, 14,000 employees.
Wow.
Next, everybody's favorite, and the one that everybody knows about, is Publix.
Oh, yeah. Lakeland.
Publix international headquarters is in Lakeland, Florida. They're number 91 on the Fortune 500 list, and their income or their revenues is $36 billion, 200,002 employees.
And they were going to move out of state, I heard.
Yeah, they going regional, so they're expanding. The next is St. Petersburg Jabal Industry, and they're 140 on the Fortune 500 list, and their income is $22 billion in revenue and 199,000 employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a true solo. I'm just me. I can't
Yeah.
even relate to that, right?
And the next is Tampa's WellCare Health Plans, and they're on the Fortune 500 list at number 155, $20 billion in revenue, 12 million employees, 12,000 employees. couple zeros got misplaced there. Make sure I correct that. St. Pete's, Raymond James, came in at 407, Fortune 500, $7.5 billion in revenue, 13,900 employees. Roper from Sarasota Technologies at 530, number 530 on the Fortune 500 list, at 5.2 billion, 15,000 employees. And Tampa's Blooming Brands, and they're 615. I mean, they're a little over the 500,
Right.
but they still, just looking at money in the local area here, $4.2 billion in revenues, 93,000 employees.
That's a lot of blooming onions.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And if you add all those up, you come up with almost $100 billion. More to the fact, $95.4 billion in the Tampa Bay area, in private industries who make stuff happen. So if we could take, as an idea, and make sure that money got spread out through the black community, I'm just saying, 15%, that would be significant income, change the whole community. 15% of purchase value, if they buy material from black-owned companies. Retail market have 15% of their retail space, for black products and black services, and employees.
Restaurants. How about restaurants?
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The whole
yeah.
thing. So anyway, thank you again. It's that time again.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I wanted
Wow.
to make sure
Time
we got it
flies
done.
when you're having fun, right?
And give your information one more time quickly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask for your vote. I'm Nancy Jacobs for Hillsborough County Court Judge Group 7. My website, www.nancykjacobsforjudge. Facebook, Nancy Jacobs for County Court Judge Group 7. Email, Jacobs, 4 judge at Gmail. And my own phone number is 813-789-7173. And I will answer your questions that I'm allowed to do by the judicial canons.
Awesome.
All right. So until next week, Tampa Bay, same bat time, same bat station. We love you. See you. Bye-bye.
God bless.